Hi, this is Zach here with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Wednesday, the 23rd of July. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which has done what we were hoping it would do by the end of this month, in fact, was the call. So the top of the channel there, that was at 90.40. It's now up to around the 90.50 level, but we've hit the top of the channel there. And end of day close above top of that channel there from the spring of last year. We could be looking at as high as 92.40 at the top of that red May resistance line, rising trend channel, in fact, and its resistance line by the end of next month. This stage only back below the floor of the channel there, around 89.20, really delaying the upside scenario. Ideally, we stay above 90.20, which was the initial July resistance. Moving on to the DAX, and here position not quite as exciting in the sense that obviously the EU is seen as a bit of a tariff loser, but here we've had another test of the 50-day line. In fact, first test since, basically since the end of last month. Bounced quite well off that, and also an RSI 50 rebound as well. So, in a way, probably that test a good thing. Top of the channel here up to 25,200, which is the equivalent of the 90.40 we had on the FTSE. That rising trend channel there from the spring of last year. And we're looking for that by the end of this month, while we remain above the 50-day line, 23,900. Might be pushing it to get there by the end of this month, but let's see if we can end July on a high. On to the Dow, and here picture is that of a market which is still trying to break out of that the little sort of mini flag formation or negative trend channel. 44,600 the level to beat, and we want to see an end of day close above that in order that we get a fresh leg to the upside and a move as high as 47,400 by the end of next month. The upside value while we hold above the 44,000 area. Recent support RSI at 61, it's bounced above neutral 50, and we've also had a decent hammer candle last week, which suggests that it's just a waiting game in terms of, or inevitability in terms of a push through the top of that flag. Moving along to Bitcoin, and here the price action looking decent. We're in basically a mid-move consolidation. Well, looks like a mid-move consolidation based at 115, and looking for an end-of-day close through probably 121 to be safe, and that would then get us to the top of that rising trend channel from May last year, at now up to as high as 127,000. Could see that by the end of this month. Obviously, not too long to go, but otherwise early in August. Best case scenario now is that above 115 we get up to as high as 143 by the end of next month, which is the top of a rising trend channel from April. 50 and 200-day lines rising well. The only slight negative, I suppose, at the RSI is pulled back a bit, but nothing dangerous at this stage. Worst case at the moment, we've got to test the May resistance at 112 one more time. On to Ethereum, which has been promoted and put into the major markets section. Here we've got this market obviously breaking through the top of our initial target there, around 34.20. Above that, we're looking for the upper parallel of that rising trend channel from March. That's heading towards 4,300. And we're looking for that by the end of next month while we remain above 34.20. On to gold, and here the situation looking rather brighter than it has for quite a while. We were looking for a break of that April resistance line 34.30, which is what we got yesterday. Above that, looking for as high as 3,800 by the end of next month. Nice double bounce there for the RSI at neutral 50 and support in recent days above the rising 50-day line 33.31, at least while we're above that 50-day line, expecting a decent acceleration to the upside. Onto the stocks, and some stocks today with some decent news. I think $21 million payout. CPP, very excited about that. Here you can see that we've gapped through our initial target there, 140. Next level up, looking for as high as £1.80 by the end of next month, which is the upper parallel of that rising trend channel base. We've obviously had 2/3 gaps to the upside in the recent past, so the market liking CPP at the moment. Market's also liking CapEx at the moment, with the unfilled gap to the upside yesterday and following through on that today. Quite simply, we're looking for 0.45 pence, basically the old 1-year resistance, while we're above the initial July resistance at 0.31. On to Empyrean, where it was noted here that the shares managed to hold on to much of their gains on the big up day that they had on the 17th. I suppose we've had a 1/3 pullback on that big range day to the upside that we had, and currently seeing the shares trade near the 200-day line, 0.1 pence. End of day close above that, we're looking for 0.2 pence maybe by the end of next month. Obviously, want to stay above recent support, 0.08. On to FAB, otherwise known as fusion antibodies, and here breaking out quite nicely. I don't think there's been any recent news here, so somebody's obviously guessing that there's something exciting to come. Yes, nothing here since the 11th of July, when there was a bit of director buying. And here we can see that, at least on the chart, that we're heading towards top of that channel there from back in September, as high as 11 pence, looking for that by the end of next month. Obviously, that just retests the 2025 resistance for this market, and looking for that while we're above recent resistance around 7.5 pence. On to Guardian Metal, where it was quite interesting that everyone and their mother claiming the credit for this one, but actually the start of the whole excitement here was back in January last year, with the breakthrough 9.5 pence after the gap from the off the low, which happened at the beginning of the month. That an unfilled gap to the upside off the low is a buy signal. In fact, we had 2 of those in January last year, and hence the calls here around the 10 pence level that the shares could be a buy. Never said the shares have been a sell ever since, and obviously the trend here very, very strong. Current situation is that above the last month's resistance at 61 pence, we're looking for an 80 pence target by the end of next month, which is a resistance line projection from the end of 2023. So quite a long story there in terms of the uptrend. The other positive at the moment, apart from the unfilled gap to the upside today after the placing, is the RSI 50 rebound above the neutral 50 level, which tends to be a leading indicator on the upside. Moving along to Itaconix, which had a very record update today, and here we've already been looking for the 148 level. I think I'm the only person who actually charts this stock. We're looking for that, and hopefully getting that by the end of next month or even sooner. Best case scenario target here up to 184 pence, maybe for September. Ideally, we stay above the 200-day line at £1.26 while we are heading higher, but a decent turnaround there for that stock. On to Orosur Mining, where it would obviously be lovely to speak to the CEO, Brad George, but it seems to be a bit busy. Current situation is we've had a second gap to the upside so far this month, looking for the top of the channel there at 17 pence and looking for that by the end of next month or even sooner. Ideally, we stay above the 50-day line, 8.75 pence, whatever happens, preferably stay on the right side of 10 pence. 2 stocks to go now. First one is Shield Therapeutics, and here another very strong update from the company. Top of the channel here, actually heading for up to 6.75 pence, and we're looking for that by the end of next month, while we remain on the right side of the initial July resistance at 3.75 pence. Finishing off with another company which had a decent update today, which was Skillcast, and here we've got a very steep rising trend channel. Top of the channel heading towards 75 pence. We're looking for that by, I suppose, at the end of next month. Looks like a very strong chart in the sense we've got that step formation, so vertical, sideways, vertical, which tends to be seen in the strongest of situations. So looking for 75 pence by the end of next month. If we get there, that'd be quite impressive. Obviously, the shares rising, sideways shuffle above a rising 50 and above a rising 200-day moving average as well. So about sort of 9 or 10 out of 10 in terms of the strength of the technicals there. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.